I think the dynamic of working with family, I think it can be really rewarding and also can be very difficult too. Um, and it is, I think, especially when you're not, no one's receiving necessarily salary, and there's all, whatever you receive, it's all lumped in, and you kind of decide how it's going to be distributed. And you have a rough idea going into it, and you make some, but you kind of you got to reflect back on it and say, well, who had what role and how important was that role, and and how should these funds be distributed. I think that's a tough conversation, and honestly, when our first round of kind of real estate that we had purchased and we ended up selling in 2014, when we had that meeting to discuss how these funds would be, because it was kind of complicated with some of the aspects of the structure, how these funds were going to be distributed. We had that same therapist that we used when my mom passed away to kind of moderate that session to determine where all that money was going. And it literally took an hour, which may sound like a lot, but it was for all the things we had to work through was not that long, and we got through it all, and it was incredible to be able to do that. That said, I do like working with family, and I think it's important. But I also sometimes I feel like working with family, it makes it, again, I think it goes back to that, like it just makes it feel like, a lot of people ask me like, oh yeah, you just work with your dad, right? I'm like, no, like I don't do anything with my dad. He's invested with some money with me early on, and now he doesn't invest any money with me. But I think working with family, it gives off that impression that it's some like family business that you inherited, and that you kind of just jumped into, and you're just kind of like, continuing to run the ship, as best you can. So I do like the idea, as I kind of create my own business, bringing on out. I do like the idea of bringing on non-family members, so it can feel like, hey, this is a real company outside of my family.
Yeah, I think, you're touching on something that is important, that oftentimes I think there's, again, that perception that you work with family and for some reason you've had a leg up. You didn't have to be X, Y, and Z, whatever that is. Some people might be even more judgmental about that. Well, he's not that smart. His dad made all the money, whatever bullshit. People, and maybe sometimes it's true even, maybe there are some stereotypes for a reason. But what I'm hearing out of you is that you weren't okay with that. You really, even at a young age, when you didn't want to stand out, be special or have a leg up, you've always had some sort of internal desire to make your own way. And to do it without, kind of the strings attached or the advantages that gave you, some sort of, maybe unfair advantage, or maybe that's not even right. Maybe just like a leg up that you just personally weren't going to get the satisfaction you were looking for.